Unless you're living on a rock, you've probably heard quite a lot recently about the debate between seed oils and butter and saturated and unsaturated fats, and how all of this contributes to your health and your diet. So welcome back to another episode of Hotshot Health, where today we're going to look into the science of cooking oils. Now, when looking at cooking with oils, there's two temperatures to consider, the smoke point and the flash point. The smoke point is where the oil will begin to break down under high heat, and you will start to see kind of a bluish smoke. That indicates that the oil is chemically breaking down because there's enough heat. The flash point is usually much higher, but is substantially more dangerous. The flash point is where there is enough volatility in the compound that it can ignite in air. So essentially explosions or fire become possible. If that happens to you, it shouldn't in your kitchen, because that normally does not happen to oils until you get above 600 degrees, and you should not be cooking above 600 degrees Fahrenheit in a standard home kitchen. However, that does happen. If you get a grease fire, do not add water. Do not add flour, and do not try to move the pan. When you add water, the water will instantly turn into steam, essentially, which will create a vapor pressure, essentially, outwards, and so it can actually cause an explosion. So, if you have an oil fire or a grease fire going on in your kitchen, turn off the burner and cover it. You want to just smother the flame out. If you starve it of oxygen, it should go out eventually. Use a large baking sheet or something like that, preferably metal, because glass can shatter. Now that we got the safety out of the way, let's talk about the smoke point, which, as I mentioned, is where the oil begins to break down. So oils are primarily composed of triglycerides, and at the breakdown point, aka the smoke point, they will begin to break down into free fatty acids and glycerol. Now, the reason this can be problematic is that glycerol can decompose into something called acrolein, which is a respiratory irritant, and keep in mind, this is all being turned into smoke, so you are breathing it. And it's also a possible carcinogen. So we don't want that. We don't want acrolein. And then additionally, free radicals are able to be formed because there's enough energy to start breaking chemical bonds and form radicalization. And free radicals are very damaging to the body and DNA. Your body does have things to protect against them, but they're generally not something you want. Simplest way to avoid that, obviously, is to cook at lower temperatures. But at some level, you do have to be able to cook some things, at higher temperatures, making sure your food is getting cooked correctly. So, we're gonna break down the different oils. First, here is a chart comparing the most common cooking oils you will see and just their total smoke point, both in Fahrenheit and Celsius. This chart I created with the assistance of Copilot, and it uses no Wikipedia-based sources, so every smoke point you see has a value taken from a more credible website. Now, as you can see, the big winner is refined avocado oil. Refined avocado oil has the highest smoke point of common cooking oils that are used. However, in the heat refining process of avocado oil, sometimes other solvents are used, and it loses almost all of its avocado flavor. It also begins to lose quite a lot of its nutrition. And so it's not necessarily a great choice. The second place, as you can see, is grapeseed oil. Now, grapeseed oil has some other problems. And primarily, this has to do with the conversion into trans fats. In a study by Alza et al., and you can see the table here, they compared different cooking oils with both time under heat as well as changing temperature. And as you can see, grapeseed oil, the chart is through the roof about how much will be converted into trans fats. Now, important note, obviously, these are relatively small percentages, right? Being in terms of the overall content, but trans fats are something you essentially never want to be eating. So that is worth considering for sure. And then as you can see, on the smoke point chart once again, the third place is ghee. Ghee, or clarified butter, is when you're removing the solids from the butter, and so you're essentially separating out just the fat. Now, a lot of people may jump and kind of twinge at the fact that ghee, because it's an animal product, contains a substantial amount of saturated fat. However, the saturated fat is actually what helps to stabilize it. So the lack of double bonds in a saturated fat helps stabilize against radicalization and oxidation, because both of those reactions take place substantially more easily when there are double bonds. In one study, ghee was held at 180 degrees Celsius for 40 hours. 40 hours. And its percent conversion into polar compounds was about 10%, which compared to a lot of the other cooking oils is very, very good. Now, actually, speaking of conversion into polar compounds, olive oil is a surprisingly good contender. I actually didn't know this until I began researching for this video, because olive oil does have a lower smoke point than a lot of the other cooking oils, and so it's not necessarily optimal for super high heat. But you've probably heard, if you're into nutrition on the internet at all, people talk about how olive oil is really healthy and people are very opposed to seed oils. And so what we're trying to look at is there basis for it? And there actually is some. Just on the cooking side of things, olive oil breaks down substantially less than a lot of the other seed oils available. This chart shows the percentage of polar compounds, which is a good measure of how an oil is breaking down. And as you can see, olive oil, especially extra virgin olive oil, while it may have a lower smoke point, it's actually less volatile to break down, essentially. It's more stable, and it's likely because of the high polyphenol content protects it against oxidation and radicalization, because as you've probably heard, olive oil contains a lot of what we call antioxidants. So olive oil is a surprisingly good contender here as well. For ultra high heat cooking, it is probably not the best, because when you do get high above the smoke point, it will start to break down more and more. So as you can see, coconut oil and butter are some of the lowest in terms of smoke point. So if you're going to do any high heat cooking, it's probably not recommended to use those. Although, as many people know, butter and coconut oil are often considered healthier, even though they have a higher saturated fat content, precisely because they're not refined. The refinement process of the other seed oils can often introduce contaminants, and not even getting into the mechanisms, because it's not fully understood about how it affects the body, they do have less nutritional value overall. You tend to get more vitamins and that kind of thing from butter. So to conclude, if you're doing some super ultra high heat cooking for some reason, refined avocado oil is your winner in terms of safety. However, in terms of overall health, from what the data recommends, if you're worried about radicalization and oxidation and fat breakdown, ghee is the clear winner. Olive oil is also a fairly strong contender, although ghee is better for higher temperatures when compared to olive oil. However, it can be argued that high levels of saturated fats are not necessarily very healthy for you either, and can increase risk of cardiovascular disease. So make sure you're moderating how much of each thing you're having, and it is likely better to have some ghee and olive oil than a lot of the other refined seed oils. Now, it is important to note that none of this examines what oil is necessarily healthiest for you, because that's hard to measure at colder temperatures, right? Like which one you'd add to a salad. This is all specifically talking about cooking at higher temperatures with oils. Additionally, no study is perfect. The study that analyzed the polar molecule breakdown of different cooking oils tested just the oils themselves, so they didn't have food in the sample. And you always want to look where a study's coming from. I believe that the study, which I have linked below, about the types of cooking oils and the polar breakdown, was conducted in a separate lab, but I believe was paid for by an olive oil company. So you always want to note where your studies are coming from and the source. That doesn't necessarily disqualify the results. So thank you guys for watching. This has been ProGain Knowledge. I'll see you all later.